Good morning. It's Tuesday morning, April 13th. Just a few observations about that last story in the Gospel of John. Jesus tells the fishermen to throw the nets on the other side of the boat. Now, all night they've been fishing on the left side of the boat, and now he says, well, fish on the right side of the boat. It's the same water under there, so what difference could it make? That's kind of the way I always left that story. But they do catch a lot of fish, and they drag this net ashore. And when the fish are counted, it's a particular number, which I always took as a little bit of evidence that John was actually there and saw this happen and knew how many fish had been caught. It's 153 fish, by the way, which it turns out is one of those numbers that you can do all kinds of weird things with. And Pythagoras got a lot of mileage out of the relationships and shapes and things, and how 153 kept turning up all through his work. And so we begin to see that reality is a little more weird than we ever knew. There's a lot more strangeness to the world than most of us realize. And there are a lot of questions that we can't really find the answers to, I think. And so we wonder sometimes, or I wonder sometimes, what is God doing? You know, is there more to his plan than we can be aware of? Is there something greater than what we think going on? And if you look at the Trinity and Jesus as the foundation of our reality and the truth, sometimes the world seems very strange. Now, I don't want to freak you out or anything, but there's just a lot about the world that's different and weird. But years ago, I remember this Reader's Theater play that our church did. And it was about that scene. And there was this one guy that kept walking out and yelling, "What are we going to do with all these fish? What are we going to do with all these stinking, rotting fish?" And no one ever answered him. And he'd walk off again. And then a few minutes later, he'd come and do it again. And that's really the first time I thought about this story. What is it about these fish? I don't have any answers except to say to you that as we look at things like those weird numbers, or if you're interested at all in reading about quantum physics, you start to see a lot of weird things that happen at very small, when you get very small dimensions, everything gets weird. And so you realize that what God has done in this world, creating this world, is he's a lot smarter than most of us, I think. God has infinite capabilities and knows all this stuff, knows everything. And so there's something about that number that makes me aware of that. And I think makes all of us aware that we don't know everything. And so just hang on for the ride and enjoy the day. See you tomorrow.